All right, it says I'm live. We'll see. If you're out there, if you can hear me, if the audio is working, if the video is working, let me know. We'll see what we can do here. I got a little fan going. It's about 96, 97 degrees, very humid, but we're making it. We're going to have a hot day tomorrow and Friday and Saturday. Hello, Scott. And then hopefully we're getting to the end of this hot run. I don't normally wear peach, but I got this at the thrift store for like $1. So it was clean. I was damp. And so I decided to wear it. All right, so y'all come on in here. If you're out there, get on in here. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk. If you got questions or comments, I'm here. Hello, Mary in Oregon. Hello, Hava. Hello, Ethan. Good to see you guys. Come on in, everybody. Pile in. If you're out there, a couple of things you need to do is type into the comment section and tell me where you are. Second, hit the like button. Just hit that like button. You want to see how briskets fit in? So do I. I added it as a joke, but I'm probably going to have to fit it in. So we're going to see how it goes. We got a hurricane going, like massive hurricane. We got people, our people. Even Scott here just said hello, in harm's way. So we're praying for you guys. We're thinking about you. We are hopeful that you're going to be safe. Everybody's going to be safe. This thing is going to be nothing. Glad that you're prepared, that you did whatever you could do. That's going to be part of our topic for tonight. Hello, Matt. But I got a sister in Houston. I've got other family and friends down there. I got friends along the whole route. I got a daughter and a son and a bunch of people in Arkansas, which are also on a straight line. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. You guys, we got a hurricane going on. We got a war going on. We got shooting going on. We got riots going on. We got fires going on. We got politics going on. We got an election going on. And we got logical fallacies and errors, theological and philosophical errors that we have to deal with. That's why I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here for you guys. That's what I do. I show up here. It's hot with no air conditioning, and I sit here and I try to do what I can. You can be post mill if you want. You can be pre mill, all that. I don't give 5 cents for anybody's eschatological position or opinion on a lot of things that people are not experts on. Everybody gets an opinion, especially when you don't know anything. I'm not saying you don't know anything, man. I'm just saying people have opinions. That's what they do. And that's what we're kind of going to be talking about. I'm not getting into prophecy per se. I'll be glad to talk about it anytime you guys want to. In fact, I got a bag right over here. I'm reading, continuing. I've mentioned it a couple times. I'm continuing to read Isaac Newton's book on Daniel and Revelation. I've read it before. I read it maybe 15 years ago, and I'm reading it again. It's really good, but I don't really highly recommend it just because it's very difficult reading, and a lot of it is in Latin. However, we are going to talk about some theological things. And I wanted to tell you new people. Some of you people have never seen it. You just saw me on Facebook. You clicked on a face, whatever you did. Some of you are future people. That's the people that are going to be watching this show after it's live. If it doesn't say live right here, somewhere right there, then it's not live. We'll get to Newton's U at some point. But I just want to let new people know that I've been doing this for 25 years. Some of you have been reading, watching, following, and sharing with me for 25 years. And so sometimes you got to have some patience. Maybe don't come in swinging. I'm just saying. And I don't say I'm just saying because I hate it. But I am just saying in this instance that perhaps just kind of sit and listen for a little while. Of course, I start with talk with Scott. Scott's my buddy. So anyways, You never know what you're going to get here because I am an expert in some things. I'm an expert in survival, preparedness, off-grid living, everything in that milieu. And so if it comes down to homesteading, like I said, off-grid living, all those things, I'm your man. Hello, Scotland. Love to have you here. Why do you miss Scott? Where did Scott go? I just read a post from him yesterday. Did he disappear since yesterday? See, now I'm worried that Scott got hit by a hurricane. Yeah, I love being on Scott's show. Scott's a good man. One of my favorites. Hello. His show. Okay. I thought something happened to Scott. I just saw a post from him. He was talking about his daughter getting a heifer, or had a picture of his daughter with a heifer or something. Going back to my point, those of you who are new or you're just catching on to this or you've been here not very long, you never know what you're going to get because I talk about a lot of things. I also talk about theology. I've written probably more than 3 million words on theology, theological issues, eschatology, on commentaries on the Bible, entire books. I did a 5-year commentary on John Owen's first volume of his works, The Glory of Christ. So there's a lot of things I can talk about. And what I try not to do is I try not to get too deeply into issues that people probably maybe don't want to hear, and so War Dog Guy was also interested in how Briskets. Everybody's here, they're how is he going to get Briskets? How is he going to shoehorn Briskets into this thing? I don't know either. Whenever it happens, it'll happen. But I just stuck it in there as a joke. But we're going to talk about at some point. We're going to find out how good I am as being your host. By the way, my name is Michael Bunker. This is the Bunker Nation Show. I want to be your host for you, and we have to do this thing that I have to do every once in a while. At some point, that box will be followed by, a sponsor or something. Maybe somebody will want to sponsor the show. Somebody that's crazy. They'd have to be crazy. So anyways, my name is Michael Bunker. I'm going to be your host for the evening. If you have a question or a comment, we are live right now. If it says live right there, we're live. And you can type a question or a comment in there, and I will try my best to get to all of them, unless I just don't want to. Or I think it's a dumb question. And there are dumb questions. Anybody who tells you they're not is also dumb. So, okay, our topic for today. What did I call this thing? God, war, and briskets or something? I need to warn people, and they should be warned. Anybody who, I do my best to stay out of people's way. I'm off in my little corner. This is a little room on my house. You have to find it on purpose. I live off grid in the middle of nowhere. And I sit down here in a little box without air conditioning and I talk, and you got to want to find it. You got to want to find me on it. I don't send friend requests to anybody. Maybe, I think I have 1,600 plus friends on Facebook. Maybe 10 of those people I sent a friend request to. Maybe 10. So if you're here or if you're on my Facebook, you're there because you came and found me. I am known as a bit of a curmudgeon is what I hear. I don't like that term. I'm not even sure what it means. Somebody look it up and put it in the comment section. I'm not a curmudgeon. I'm a nice person. I try to be nice. I try to be respectful. I certainly play by the rules. But what happens quite often is people come in to my little world, my little room in my house. They come walking by and knock on my door and come sit in my living room, and then they don't behave themselves. They don't act respectfully, or they do something that they shouldn't ought to do. And I'm qualified to deal with such things. And so sometimes those things aren't very bad. And by the way, if you're into following some of the Wrong Think authors, which I am, Larry Correa is one of them. He's got a great Facebook. I like to read his stuff. And he did a post the other day, which is exactly what I want to say, but I want to lend a little bit of deference. He's got a lot more followers than I do because I don't, and I'm not saying he does, but I don't accept every friend request I get on Facebook or any other social media. If you're friends with me on social media, I at the very least clicked on your profile to see if you're a real person. And I also look to see if perhaps you ever posted anything that I might find interesting. I did a little bit of my due diligence. So at least take that as a credit that I'm not just, I don't get 25 friend requests and just go down there and just approve them all. I just don't do that. That said, I don't think Larry does that either. I have no idea, but he has a lot more friends than I do. And he also is a lot more famous as an author than I am. And so he deals with a lot more people. But in my past, I'm an old man now. In my past, I've had thousands and thousands and thousands of people following me at any one time. And a lot of times I get the same problem. And in his article, he talked about the people you have to deal with constantly. And it's very tiring. I love dealing with people. I love talking to y'all. I love you being here on the show. I love interacting with people. But there are types of people who are cardboard cutout stamps, and there are thousands of them, and you have to deal with them every day. And so those types, you can see them coming a mile away. And so sometimes those people, they come in, everybody thinks they're funny. Everybody thinks and if you know anything about me, my sense of humor is very ironic. I don't like low fruit picking. When a joke is obvious, you walk past it. You don't point it out. You never explain the joke unless explaining the joke is the joke, Norm Macdonald style. All right? Have an intent. But people that come on somebody else's wall and they think they're freaking hilarious and they have the oldest, dumbest 1970s falling down the stairs sense of humor and they pick up every piece of low fruit and everything is an attack. I mean, it's just, and they don't mean anything by it, but everything is a freaking shot all the time. You have to realize I'm getting shots taken at me all the time, and you don't even see 1% of them. We're going to get to the point. This all adds to it, all right? But I'm taking shots all the time, and there's a lot of people out there. They don't interact with me. They don't communicate with me. They don't send me private messages asking how I'm doing or anything else like that. They sit there and they wait until they think they've got a good shot, and then they take a shot at me. Why are they following me? I don't know. There's something sick. There's some sickness in the water in America that makes people do this kind of stuff. But that's the only time I ever hear from these people is when they're taking pot shots at me. And they all think it's funny. They all think they're freaking hilarious. And they don't ever add anything. There's never any benefits. There's no good points that they bring up or anything like that. It's just this kid. And they think that I have this relationship with them that I don't have. Second, if you admit you haven't watched my show or you don't know anything about me, maybe just sit back a little bit and find out something. Thank you, Christopher. I cannot wait to communicate with you. Don't come in firing both barrels like you know me. And if I come, here's another thing. So I just told you, there's a bunch of people right now watching this who have been following me and talking to me, and we've interacted for 25 years. At some point, you're going to be in the barrel, which means at some point, this is going to be pointed at you. There's nothing mean-spirited about it. I sound like I'm yelling, but I'm not. I'm emphasizing my point. I'm being a showman at some points. But just because I take you out at the knees for something stupid does not mean that I don't like you or that I've written you off. I'm a very forgiving person. But if you say something dumb, if you do something dumb, especially if it's something that's a pet peeve of mine, I'm going to take you off at the knees. That's what happens. That's why a lot of people are here. That's why they watch. It's just the way it goes. It's entertainment, right? Don't take it too seriously. Hello, Montana. All right, Christopher, thank you. And so if it happens to be your day in the barrel, do what you got to do. But the best thing you can do is just listen. Maybe you learn something. It doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not taking it seriously. I'm not writing anybody off unless you get personal or you attack my family or something like that. So people make mistakes. They say dumb things. A lot of times they are dumb or they don't know something and they should, which means they're just ignorant. So, guy today comes into my post where I'm talking about things that are going on in the world very seriously. He'd already made a shot at me the other day that he thought was funny, which was an assumption that was false. And he wrote this long post that was so full of mischaracterizations and errors that it's too much. It's too much. I don't know how many times I've told people this. If you say one thing and I can look at it and there's a logical fallacy, then I don't mind engaging a little bit in a friendly way. But sometimes it's so bereft with error and just logical fallacies, it's just too much. So it started off, you can say true things and you can be in the midst of a definist fallacy. I want to write that down. This guy, so far since I've known him, has had 2 or 3 elements that were stereo or were cartoon perfect examples of the definist fallacy. The definist fallacy is when you define something differently than how it's either commonly used or how it's being used in the context, so that you can either win an argument or you can make a point, or that you can just confuse other people so that they don't engage, or that you can get away with whatever it is you're trying to do to rationalize and justify whatever it is you're trying to do. So if I start a sentence with you and I say, well, God's in charge, God's sovereign, whatever's going on, wherever people are, that's where God has them. That's true. It's true. Now, here's the thing. That doesn't mean you're in a good place, and it doesn't mean you're in God's declared or his commanded will. There are 2 wills in God, as is made evident by the fact that he told Pharaoh to let his people go. He commanded it. It was his commanded will that he let the Israelites go, and yet he told Moses and others, he said, yet will I harden his heart that he will not let my people go. His undeclared will was that he would not let the people go, even though he commanded that he let the people go. God can judicially blind you. So if you think that somehow it's a get out of jail free card, or you're in a good state because you're being disobedient and you're saying, well, this is where God has me, so I guess everything's good. Guess what? I announced it, Daniel. Guess what? You're wrong. So just starting off your 4-paragraph full of errors statement by saying that God's in charge and everybody's where they're supposed to be, that's true. They're where they're supposed to be because God has judicially blinded almost all of them so that they're not capable of seeing his commanded will, understanding it, and obeying it. And he has no obligation to open their eyes or to clear out their ears or to allow them to see it, because he has no obligation to sinners to do anything at all. Nothing. He can leave them in their error as long as he wants to, because he's God. So this whole idea, and I have been hearing this for 20 years, so it just happens, guy, that you ran into one of my big pet peeves. I'm a sovereignty of God guy. I'm a guy who believes that God's absolutely sovereign over every single thing, that nothing happens outside of his will, his permissive will. And at the same time, I believe that most people, almost all of them, are violating his declared will every day, all day. So when you are doing something and it doesn't make it easy, if you're sitting there, and I'm not saying that anybody has to do anything, all right? You're not doing anything to be saved. You don't have to do anything. Just listen to what I'm saying. If you're in harm's way and you have plenty of warning and you have the ability to see, not spiritually, but to see that there's danger, and you're sitting there going, I don't have to do anything. God's in charge. I'm just going to be an evangelist. That's not how it works. Here's the thing. If you're in Sodom, chances are you're not Lot. Sodom was a city. Only one guy made it out of there that wasn't an angel. Everybody in the world thinks they're Lot. For 20 years, I've had people say, well, you know, God came and got Lot. Well, if angels aren't escorting you out of danger right now, then you're not Lot. Ever thought about that? Everybody thought that they were the special ones. Everybody in Sodom thought they were special. God even said if there were 10 righteous men, he wouldn't destroy it. But guess what? He destroyed it. And he sent angels to physically remove the guy that was supposed to get out of there. So don't tell me, if you are where you are and you believe, honestly, that you are in accord with what God says in the scripture, and I'm talking to Christians now, all the rest of you just sit down, pipe down, and listen for a minute. And you think you are where you're supposed to be, then great. Be confirmed in your own mind, in your own opinion. But don't tell me a bunch of hokum pokum and then put it all on the fact that, well, we're all where we're supposed to be. So prostitutes and whores and drug dealers and pedophiles are exactly where God has them because he loves everybody and he just wants everybody to be happy. No. If you're doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, you're supposed to stop it. If you have enough information and intelligence and the ability to get out of harm's way, then you should. Now, if you're in a place and you can't get out because of your whatever restrictions are upon you, maybe you're in prison or you're poor or something like that, then certainly I understand. But don't sit there and look me in the eye and say, oh, well, you know, yeah, this is where God has me. Come on now. I don't know what earth question mark means. Maybe I missed something, or maybe it's showing up later and we moved on. So here's the thing. There are people right now that are in harm's way of this hurricane. Some of them would like to leave, and they can't. Some of them believe they're going to be okay, and that's fine if they are intelligent and they have the ability to analyze everything. And that's fine with me too. People make their own decisions. But don't act like God's going to miracle you out of there if you've had the opportunity to leave, and you should leave, and a storm surge higher than your house is coming through there, and somehow, well, I'm just going to go down in the flotsam and jetsam of the flood and be evangelizing. Isn't it funny how everybody who's always doing something they shouldn't be doing is always evangelizing? I got 25 years of this going on because our children were homeschooled. People would come up and start a fight with me. I'm minding my own business. I'm in my own little place on my own little land. I'm doing this. I'm minding my own business. And people would come up to me and they'll go, you know, everybody doesn't have to homeschool. We have our children in public school so they can be evangelists. Be in the world, but not of the world, said someone who never saw that in the scripture ever. And don't bring up John 17 or anything else like that, because unless you know the context, you're going to lose. Everybody who sends their children to the enemy to be educated, who sends their children to the enemy to learn how to put a condom on a banana and how to have an abortion whenever you want to, says, well, I put them in there because they're going to be evangelized. How many of you were evangelized in high school? I walk up and down the streets of nearby towns all the time. All the time. You know how many times in the history of my life that somebody has come up to me at work or in town or something like that and evangelized to me? In 53 years of life? How do you do this? Zero. I'm trying not to do the racist thing. Zero. Everybody in the world says, oh, I'm only in Sodom because I'm evangelizing. Well, I should be getting people stop me all over. That doesn't mean I haven't seen street preachers. I have. They have their own errors. I'm talking about somebody who says that's what they're doing and they're not doing it. I used to have people all the time, because I believe in the doctrines of grace and I believe in election. They come up to me and they go, well, if people believe in election, they're not going to go out and evangelize. And I would say, you know what? I've been in 3 continents. I've preached in 45 states. I've talked to over 1 million people face to face. Now give me your credentials, because you are the product of your theological worldview. All of this is just to me, and I get frustrated. This is an intersection of 2 areas of my interest, and that is preparedness, survival, right thinking, the ability to help other people, and theology. So don't throw theology at me as your reason for not doing anything. If you are morbidly obese, that's fine if that's your choice. But don't tell me God made you that way, or that somehow God wants you to stay that way. I'm not saying anybody needs to go exercise. I'm not saying anything of the sort. I'm saying there's a whole lot of people out there that like to make up scriptures that don't exist about drinking and about wine and beer while they are morbidly obese, as if the scripture never says anything about gluttony. Do not start thinking I'm talking about anything anybody needs to do. I'm just saying, why is it that people rush to find something they need to attack other people about, and then they use the scriptures to justify their own error? I don't walk around telling people, listen, probably you should have a beard. I think you should if you're a man, but that's what I believe. But I don't go around telling other people that. I have evangelized all over the world, but I don't believe that my job is to stop people and beat them up with what I believe. I believe that God will bring them to me if he wants them to learn something. If he doesn't, then I'll stay here in my stupid peach shirt and talk about something else. All right, so we got through the God thing as it relates to hurricanes and riots and war. We got a war going on, and I talked about this in the last show. Hey, thanks everybody for being here, by the way. Hit the like button. I'm asking everybody to go to YouTube after this is over and either subscribe and or hit the like button and leave a comment. That's the only way anybody's ever going to find out about this show, because it's hidden in my little corner of the world. So we got a war going on. The media, as we speak, are drum beating for a civil war. And anybody on any side of the issue who's looking forward to this, who thinks it's a good idea, who thinks it's going to go well, is an idiot. We do not want a civil war like this. We don't. If you don't know what went on in the former Yugoslavia or any of those other things, Godsplainers, that's a good one. If you don't know anything about war, you don't want anything to do with it. But the media is out there beating the drums for this thing, and they want it. And there's a whole lot of people in politics that want it too. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Here's the thing. You don't want a war. You don't want a civil war. It's not going to go well for anybody. This type of judgment on a country is not some sterile thing where the people that disagree with you are all removed. That didn't happen in the Civil War, and it's not going to happen in this one. People are going to die, and a lot of them, if this thing turns into a war. Thank you, Hava. So let's stop whatever it is that we can stop that's steamrolling this thing into that type of thing. I don't know what to do. We're way outside of what I would allow anyway. So if they ever made me emperor, none of this would be going on. But they haven't. So I don't know. I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to fix it. All I can do is say I cannot see a way out of it. Immediately after this latest shooting in Kenosha, the media was framing it as protesters being shot by self-styled militia. It is stunning how they can continue to portray things in such a way that people with their own eyes are told that what you just saw is not what you just saw. And I am not making any commentary on any police shootings at all. But when you use that terminology, that people burning businesses, trying to kill police, throwing hazardous materials, throwing bombs, throwing Molotov cocktails, carrying guns, stopping the sheriff's department, and doing all of these things in a city, and doing all these things while they're robbing and stealing, are merely protesters, while people who are trying to stop that behavior are self-styled militia. You are trying to start a war. And you're probably going to have one. And we don't want it. None of us want it. And I hesitate to say what would happen if it happens. So now we got hazards to the left of us and hazards to the right of us. We got natural disasters. We have every opportunity. We've had every opportunity since I've been talking to you, most of you since March at least, to prepare yourselves, to make use of the time that's available so that you can evangelize and stabilize. And by evangelize, I only mean have available to you those resources that are necessary if you might be called forth to stand as a spokesman for the gospel and for Jesus Christ if you're called to do that. If you don't believe in all that, then I'm not talking to you. Don't care what you think. But at the very least, embrace the stabilized part, which means be a stable force in your neighborhood, in your community, in your area, in your county, so that you can help other people if it needs to happen. At the very least. And to sit there and do nothing, and to say, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit here and say that, oh, no, I'm just not going to do anything. God's going to miraculously save me. He lets, people in the Sudan and other places get shot in the head while they're being baptized. But he's going to, my little obese ass sitting in some apartment in some big city, God's going to miracle me out of here. Or he's just going to open the door where all of a sudden, although I've not been an evangelist for my whole life, I'm going to become a super evangelist in the last 5 minutes. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying. Maybe I get a little earnest. Maybe I feel too much. Maybe I love too much. Maybe that's my problem. Hey, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. Even if you're one of the future people, which means later on, when there's no live symbol up here, whatever, you can put a question in the comment section. I read all the comments. Sometimes I ignore them, but I try to read them all. So I'm out here. If you guys have a question or a comment, if you have anything that you want to talk about. My mouse froze again. Thank you. Hello, Ron and Ramonda up in the Caprock area. Thank you, Hannah, for that super sticker. This is what keeps us going. We appreciate it. I still don't know what Earth question mark means. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Type them in there. I'm here for you. I had a feeling I was going to step off into some type of theological morass. I'm just passionate. If most people knew what I thought about the theology, they probably would not engage with me at all. And which is why most people don't. Hey, by the way, I've got some Yoplait Greek 100 protein. I'm going to eat this as soon as this is over. This stuff is good. It's got 15 grams of protein and only 100 calories. And it's delicious. I don't know what's in there that's bad, but what is in there is good is good. What's my eschatological position? I try not to force myself into too many boxes eschatologically because I believe that most of us are profoundly ignorant. I'm a historicist. I believe that preterism and futurism were both created by the Jesuits, and I can prove it. And I did in a book called Swarms of Locusts that you may or may not can find because it's really expensive. But I'm a historicist. I do not have a millennial position that I stand to firmly at all because I'm willing to say that I don't know everything and I'm still learning. But I am a historicist as opposed to a futurist or a preterist. Every time I say something, I'm like opening the door to like hand grenades being thrown at me. Don't worry about it, War Dogheim. I appreciate it. I appreciate the thought. We'll catch up with you. No problem. Hey, I'm going to do this, though. This thing right here is a good back scratcher. You ought to get one of these. What you do is you buy yourself one of those $1 fly swatters, and they break in like 5 minutes. Like first time you hit a good fly with it, and then it makes a perfect thing. You think Rush Uni was too correct? All right. Not sure exactly what that means, but I'm with you, buddy. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Anything you want to talk about? Hey, hit the like button. Go to YouTube. YouTube is like where the center of this show's ability to pay for all of the accoutrements, like this mechanism that allows me to broadcast 5 platforms right now and soon to be 8, and have these things like this and these banners like this. Go to my fundraiser right now. Oh, historicist. All right, I'm getting to the brisket. I was gonna slide it in at the end. So here's the thing with the briskets. I don't know if you know, but I guess there was some meme going around that down in South Texas because of the hurricane, they had limited people to 2 briskets. So I was at the store today, and I saw some friends of ours. I didn't get to talk to them. I saw them from afar. And they had 2 huge boxes coming out of the meat department on a big skid thing. And I told my daughter, I said, it looked like they were buying a bunch of briskets. So she found some comedy thing online where they were making jokes about Texas buying briskets during the pandemic. One of the reasons they were buying them during the pandemic is because they couldn't get hamburger, and they were buying briskets and grinding it into hamburger, which makes fantastic hamburger, by the way. Fantastic. But also people were buying them because they were limiting them because of the hurricane and all that. You can only get 2 briskets. Perhaps it's just because it's a huge chunk of meat, and they didn't know how long they were going to be working off a generator or something. I don't know. I was going to squeeze it in there. I just thought briskets was interesting. That somehow there's a limit on how many briskets you can buy in Texas as part of our hurricane preparedness scenario. I probably overhyped the brisket thing. It probably wasn't as good as had I just slipped it in there. And then I forgot about it. All right, let's see what other banners we got here. Follow me on Instagram. My new book is available. God in the Storm. By the way, those of you who ordered hardbacks signed probably just received free paperback copies to hold you over until the hardback copies arrive, because we had a delay in the hardbacks. And so it could be a little while for the hardbacks because I still have to sign them. And so hopefully you received your paperback signed copy. If you want a signed copy, paperback, hardback, go to godinthestorm.com. If you just want to read the book, and you should, because it has a whole lot to do with what's going on today. There's riots and there's Antifas and whatnot in it. Then read the book, and you can just go to Amazon.com, type in God in the Storm. If you think God in the Storm is a good book because you read it, the next thing to do is go to Amazon.com and write a review, because we need that. We're going to have a big launch. Although the book is already out there, we're going to have a big launch coming up in about a month. And so we need as many reviews as we can get. Limiting briskets to Texans is a valid excuse for civil war. I agree with you, Scott. They got a limit on briskets in Miami. Oh, wow. It's spreading. Go get you a brisket. If you have a freezer, put one in there. I don't have a freezer. You can can it. You can grind it into hamburger, or you can just make brisket barbecue. All right, everybody, I'm here for you. If you got a question or comment, we're into the 40-minute mark, which means I could disappear at any moment. That's just the way it works. Here in my peach-colored shirt. I'm giving it a few minutes. I'm having a sip of a beverage, but I don't want to say what it is because, you know, people who don't know how to read the Bible very well might have an issue with me. But I'm here to help them. I'm here to help you. That's what I do. All right, everybody. Looks like we're not going to get any other questions. If we do, they're going to show up after I sign out. So I appreciate you guys. As always, I love you. And I hope to see you again maybe tomorrow or the next day. If not, I'll see you when I see you. And thank you all for tuning in. Like, subscribe, bell button, comment in YouTube. Thank everybody. I'll talk to you later.